We are back with the third official reset of Season 2, and today we're going to be opening a couple of vaults across my tanks, seeing what we get, and talking about my decisions. So we're going to actually start off this time with the Paladin. This will be a pretty quick vault since I did a couple of raid bosses as well as a handful of Mythic Plus dungeons. I believe I did 4 10 keys, I think, maybe. And I did 6 heroic bosses. Don't quote me on that. Maybe I only did 4. But I should have a couple of slots in my vault for my Paladin. I do plan on gearing it up over the course of the season, just not as like a main, just as an additional alt to have, just in case either my group ends up wanting it to push with, or I'm just bored some days. So here we go. Now I am going to be looting as protection. There are some tiers in previous seasons where sometimes tanks will want to loot as their DPS off spec to, access specific items, whether that be weapons or trinkets for a specific loot spec. But in the case of Season 2, most of the good things that tanks want this season are in the tank pool. So we're just going to loot it as prot and see what we get. Whoa, okay. So starting off, we have 2 pairs of bracers. One is heavy crit with mastery from the raid on the hero track, and one is high haste low crit. These are actually pretty solid for protection right now. Protection Paladin wants an outrageous amount of haste. You want a specific set amount of mastery. That number is give or take around the 10 to 11,000 mark, and this allows you to basically hit your block cap. And then after that, you want critical strike because we are now playing Templar, and Templar values a lot from crit. You also gain parry chance from that. So not bad. We also have Mythic Track Belt with high mastery, low crit. Not as great as I'd like to see. It's on the Mythic Track, which is extremely valuable this early in the season. And then lastly, we have the Viscera of Coalesced Hatred. This trinket has never really been all that good. If anything, it's just a solid stat stick. I'm not really sure what to do here. So here's the option. Is I could always catalyze the belt, but I don't know what stats it gives. I believe the catalyst belt gives haste mastery. I can see by doing this. So it gives high haste, low mastery, which is fine. So I could take the belt, the belt. It's on the Mythic track. I can send it in the catalyst at some point if I need to. I do have full hero track tier, and we get a catalyst charge next week. I don't plan on raiding Mythic on this character, so this isn't the worst option. Taking the belt and catalyzing it for something that's a little bit better. The only problem is that I am above the mastery kind of breakpoint that I require. So it would require me, if I want to optimize a little bit, to switch around my stats. Now, of course, I can always recraft my shield and sword into having mastery on them instead of crit. But then I would basically trade out my mastery on my ring for crit, which would be a larger percentage of my secondary stats. I don't think I want to take hero track gear for a couple reasons. First, we get another craft this week, or at least we should. So I can always craft bracers if I need to. And they're on the hero track. And then this trinket is pretty much beans. Beans means bad for any of you youthful listeners out there. Now, I do like to come to Blood Mallet. Blood Mallet is a really nice site for quickly looking at sims to see what's going. Actually, this trinket looks like it's doing pretty well. Surprisingly. Is this actually good? Wait, am I cringe? Is it on the Mythic track? It's on the Mythic track. No one's using it, but it might just be unlucky. Am I crazy? Like, is this better to take than the belt? So the trinket would be a massive upgrade compared to this waste, which I would catalyze, which would eat up one of my charges, which ideally I use on Mythic track gear. According to Sims, and I'm not a big sim person, I just don't think they're necessarily the best thing to go off of. According to Sims for pure damage, this is one of, if not one of our better trinkets at 678, which is what I could get it to here. I don't even know. This is actually kind of a hard decision. Huh. These Sims were updated 3 days ago. Oh, man. I feel like realistically, I won't ever actually use this trinket at like the highest end of play. I'll probably opt for something a little bit more stable. What it does allow, if I take the trinket, is it allows me to have... It saves me crests in the long run on my trinket upgrade, since I already have another mythic track. I have Sigil of the Algari Concordance. The waste is a very minor upgrade now, but long term it would be good, especially once I slot in the catalyst. Not only because it gives me, a mythic track piece that's a main stat item, but it would also give me something that is good transmog. I can't help but feel that it'll make more sense to take the belt. So the belt we shall take. All right. So that's the Paladin Vault. So basically what I need to do is I'm going to catalyze this. I'll also I can always add like a socket to it as well. So like that's totally fine. Oh, this is easy. Can I not click on it while I'm in bubble? There it is. And so then what I'll do is I'll slam this. This will give me more haste than I need, but then I'll just... I need to just like craft something that's a little bit better. Worth it. And the best part is... I now have this like entire Mog, which looks so good. Alright, anyways, moving on to actual tanks. Alright, the Prot Warrior is a class and a spec I've been playing a lot of lately. I am currently 3k rating on it. I've gotten a couple of 14s done. Still has 10 primary. But we've been kind of blasting alongside of our main, our Brewmaster Monk. And I am very geared. I actually think I have more gear than my Brewmaster Monk. So that's an impressive feat. I did benefit from the Rune Crest. But basically, same kind of story as our Prot, is that we're going to be opening this up in Protection. I don't really know what I'm hoping for. Basically, Mythic track anything. Of course, we get a modular plating device. That's always best in slots. We have a Crit Mastery Cloak. Not necessarily the best, though I do have a little bit too much haste, so it's not a bad idea. Modular plating, for those who don't know, is one of the worst trinkets that Blizzard has ever made. And they buffed it by 892% recently, or something along those lines, and it's still one of our worst trinkets ever. For example, it gives you 10,000 armor. I believe it's actually per stack, so it gives you like 40k armor, but I have 192,000 armor. So like it's like an 8% physical DR when you have max stacks, and it doesn't do anything when the plating falls off. So I don't know, like it doesn't do damage, it doesn't help you survive. It's like okay for auto attacks, but it's only okay for it. It's not good. There's just so many better tank trinkets out there. And last but not least, we have Crit Haste Avoidance Shoulders. I do currently have 665 fully upgraded Heroic on, so this is a slight downgrade, and I'm going to need crests to upgrade it, which I think I don't have any, so I'd have to farm a little bit out here. These are probably the best option, though. I'm not going to complain. Avoidance is always good for both tanks and DPS dealers alike. Healers generally want more leech than anything as a tertiary stat, but I'm very happy with avoidance. We're going to go with the shoulders. This was a much easier choice. The only downside is that I'm not going to have like direct gratification of taking this. I am going to have to upgrade these. Actually, you know what? I don't need crest to upgrade them to catch them up to 665, so I can always do that here. We're going to slam this in. And now I am going to need crest to upgrade it basically any higher than I currently have. All right, so small tertiary upgrade. Mythic track gear is always valuable because this is what's going to unlock the 678 item level benchmark. If you're not getting Mythic track gear, you're going to forever be stuck at 665, which as you can see, 3 weeks into the season, we're already somewhat nearing. So if you want to keep progressing your character, you need Mythic track loot. Unfortunate that you can't farm it. All right, anyways, we're going to move on to the Brewmaster. Last but not least, we have the Brewmaster. So many people are messaging me. Okay, so a couple things to note before I open the vault. We did get a Brewmaster, our tier set. Our tier set got buffed. It went from doing 150% more damage on Blackout Kick to 250%. We also got a 3% aura, or I guess damage buff across the board. So this affects everything from Tiger Palm to Keg Smash to Breath of Fire, Spinning Crane Kick, etc. That obviously doesn't necessarily change much. It will put a little bit more value into Master of Harmony, bringing that ever so closer to Shado-pan. I don't think you're going to play Master of Harmony in single target still, but in Mythic Plus, it can be a little bit more competitive, and I'll talk about why in a second. But let's open up our vault. So we are going Brewmaster. Similar to our protection specs that we just opened up on, I am looking for Mythic Track loot. Boots are also fine on Mythic Track because I'll catalyze them, which is good. I also have Hero Track boots I can always catalyze because I want to move this embellishment off onto another piece. Most likely chest or bracers. But I'm also not complaining if I get a priority trinket. So let's open this up and see what we can get. Let me move my mic a little bit closer so I can yell. So I did some Mythic Track rating last week. So I have the option to take Mythic Track shoulders. I think I got 3 Mythic bosses down. I'm most likely not taking any heroic gear, even though that Gallywix's Iron Thumb is a slight damage gain over my Star Sword Seraph's Mace. Very small, and it's mostly just for raid. We also got the mechanized junk pads. I don't remember what dungeon these come from. I believe they come from... I mean, I would imagine they come from Floodgate, right? So Floodgate shoulders, but I would be required to catalyze them. We also got Haste Mastery Bracers, pretty bad stats for the Brewmaster Monk. And then we have Remnant of Darkness. Remnant of Darkness is not a good trinket. If I pull up Blood Mallet once more, you can see that our best trinket is clearly Tome of Light's Devotion, but Z's Thug Hotline is a close second. It's also followed by the Theater of Pain trinket as well for some reason. I don't like the Grim Codex. It's not interesting to use at all. Down the list, though, all the way down here is Remnant of Darkness. So even if we take these at like a 5% or 95% accuracy rating, it's still not even close to our best trinket. It's far from our worst, which is good. So if you don't have trinkets, it's not a bad idea to take it. But there's no way I'm taking this in a real world. I also filled up Delves and World Quests. I'm never going to take any of this despite it having avoidance. The main reason I was doing it was because Noggin Fogger was bugged. And it was simming way higher than it should have been. Actually, it wasn't even bugged. It was just doing insane damage, but they have adjusted it since. There were some interesting interactions with like Haste Crit and different modifiers in our kit. It was the same with like Outlaw Rogue and Rep Paladin. I believe they're still good for other classes, but for us, it's just not... It's a good trinket to have, but nothing to write home about. So basically, we're counting out the trinket. I'm going to count out all of the Delve stuff as well, and basically any hero track items. My guild still plans on killing... I think this comes from Mugsy. Or does it actually just straight up come from Gallywix? I might just be dumb. It has Gallywix in the name, right? Yeah, okay, it does. That would make sense. For some reason, I thought it came from Mugsy. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of the priest weapon. I'm thinking of this thing. Okay, that's why. I'm just dumb. Monk? Okay. So basically, let's write off all of our hero gear and the trinket. So Mythic Track shoulders, I don't currently have. So I would lose Leech for taking them, but it's a Mythic Track piece. I could also take shoulders that aren't catalyzed, which means I have to spend a catalyst charge on them, which is not good. And the bracers are just kind of shit, and I plan on crafting bracers eventually. Like way down the road. So unfortunately, while I do really want the chest for transmog, I think I'm going to take the shoulders. But at least it's not sockets. At least it's not sockets. That's what I got to keep telling myself. So we just got our Mythic Track shoulders. I am going to be able to upgrade these. Oh, they are 665 already. Sick. I was about to say I'm going to have to upgrade them, but that's not even the case. Alright, so I think that's actually my first Mythic Track piece of loot that I'm wearing. Oh no, my helm as well. Okay, so 2 of my tier pieces are Mythic, and I believe if I'm lucky, I don't think I'll get lucky, but Cauldron of Carnage is a boss that we have on Mythic Farm, and they drop hands, and hands are something else that we want. And then I believe Rick Reaver does shoulders. Who are pants? I guess Sticks. Oh man, we're never killing Sticks. Yeah, I still have some good options to get. Oh no, we're not. It's not till One Arm Bandit where I get pants. F. My pants are down bad right now, guys. 658. Normal track. That's not good. I don't even have a catalyst charge to use till next week. Okay. So for those who aren't following along very closely, you do not get another catalyst charge this week, but you should get another craft, which is going to be your third spark of the season. There's a lot of people who made weapons. If you made weapons, that's fine. If you're like me, you made a belt, and you maybe made an armor piece with the embellishment to double the value of said belt. Now, I did this as a way to get crest discounts for my alts earlier. Don't make boots. Your best in slot boots are going to come from the catalyst. Any mythic track boots you can get your hands on, if you ever get your hands on them at any point, throw them in the catalyst. They have crit, high verse on it. Very good stats for the Brewmaster. These boots were temporary just for me to get a quick upgrade on my alts. And eventually I'm going to be shifting these to probably my chest or my my bracers. Now for me personally, my plan for crafting is going to be chest. And the reason why is because I feel like my weapons are fine. Weapons might actually be a better play now I think about it. But I still have access to the Cauldron of Carnage weapon from both weekly farm as well from Vault. And then, of course, there are like the Starforged Seraph's Mace that I could get from Vault, I think. And then eventually Capo's Molten Knuckles. I really like this as an option for the Brewmaster Monk, even though you don't have to necessarily play with this. So my plan for pure main stat purposes is going to be crafting a chest piece with slightly better stats. I don't like where my mastery is. I think it's a little too high, and I think my crit's a little too low. I'm sitting right at that 30% benchmark. I would like to have a little bit higher crit, closer to like the 32 percentile. So most likely I'm going to be dropping this chest so I can get those stats a little bit better. Plus, it's going to give me the most amount of main set out of any of my other pieces. I'm not going to be replacing my tier. My boots I'm going to replace eventually, and bracers are just too small. So that is my plan currently. I don't advise it for everyone. I take a long, hard look at your gear and try to figure it out. If you really want to know or have my input, feel free to comment down below, or you can always ask me in my Discord. Anyways, that just about does it. That is my weekly vault video. I hope you guys have good luck as well. I think my vaults were actually pretty good. I do have a few more to open, but it's like they're like just delve characters, and I did like 2 or 4 delves or something like that on them. So anyways, best of luck in your vaults, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.